Hi, I'm Dave Gormley with Andrews, Bungar, Gormley & Claggett. In this video, I want to go over what's going to happen at your initial bankruptcy consult. When people call our office, they always want to know what it is they need to bring with them to that first consult. Typically, what we'll tell them is just bring yourself. In this initial consult, we don't want to get bogged down in the details of every penny and exactly what something's worth. We want to focus on the big picture. If you've gotten served with a lawsuit or gotten some notices from your mortgage company, bring those along. We can look them over and figure out what time frame you have or exactly what it is those documents are. But for the most part, we just want to go over the big picture and get a feel for what's important to you. To that end, when you come in, the first thing I'm going to do is pull out a sheet of paper that has a page full of questions. I'm going to plod through them just to get all the facts down in one place. And that way, when you ask me a question, I'll be able to give you meaningful answers. In fact, after you bear with me for a few minutes and let me plod through these questions, not only will I be able to answer your questions, I'll probably be able to anticipate most of them. When we're going through those questions, they help me figure out what options may or may not be available. Sometimes we'll talk about some non-bankruptcy options. For the most part, we're going to be focusing probably on Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. We've got a whole other article that goes all over the different types of bankruptcy with an emphasis on 7 and 13, so you can have a pretty good understanding of what they are so that you can play an integral part in deciding what is the best option for you. When I pull out that sheet, I'm going to ask you whether you're married, single, divorced, whether you lived in Maryland for more than 2 years, whether you ever filed for bankruptcy before. Then we'll start getting into your household size and what everybody's income is, and then we'll go through the assets and debts. On the article that goes with this video, we've got all the questions that I tend to ask. We even got the little sheet that I've got that I'll use as my questionnaire. But if you fill it in, feel free, but if you fill it in, I'm still going to go through this meeting with you because we want to have a little conversation so I get a real sense of where you're coming from. At the end, we might even have some tough choices to make about what is the best option. My advice to somebody who's going to live in Maryland for the rest of their lives is a lot different than the advice I might give to somebody who's planning on moving to North Carolina or retire in Florida in 2 or 3 years. So we want to get a sense of that and not just look at the sheet with the questions already answered. We'll have a little conversation about those things. After that, we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about the future and figuring out what is the quickest way for you to bounce back from the problems you're dealing with. We'll go over the process. We'll talk about the homework assignment that I'm going to have you do before we can get a bankruptcy petition drafted up. I'll quote you the attorney's fee, tell you what the filing fee is going to be, and then we'll talk about after you've reviewed and signed the bankruptcy petition, what's going to happen then. We'll talk about the meeting that you're going to have to attend up in Greenbelt where we go meet with the trustee, and we'll talk about the steps after that that may or may not have to take place. When we're going through a bankruptcy, I typically find that the scariest thing for somebody is not knowing what's going to happen or what they need to do. The big part of this bankruptcy consult is to give you a sense of control, knowing, all right, I've got some options, I just need to make some decisions and figure out what is the best path forward. After we get a sense of where you're coming from, we can help you do that. The toughest thing in a bankruptcy is admitting that you need help and that this may be the way to go. I often wish that the person who I'm talking to had come and seen me a year before. So don't hesitate to come in and talk about what we're dealing with now. You'll probably sleep a lot better at night. Part of the reason why I do this video is so when you're looking at scheduling that consult, you're not losing sleep about what am I going to ask you and whether you have everything you need. So hopefully by watching this video, we've given you a little bit of control over that first step, and coming to see me doesn't seem quite as scary. Thanks for listening.